quiet peaks of a restless heart, to the island breeze where the warm dreams start. I left behind the cold and gray to find a brighter, warmer way. In crowded streets and sunset skies, in smiles that speak without disguise, I found a voice, I found a name, and nothing ever felt the same.
The departure, the moment had finally arrived. Nearly 2 years had passed since I first met my girlfriend, a wonderful Filipina online. Now it was time to meet her in person. I was planning to fly to the Philippines, ready to embark on this big adventure. By that point, I was already deeply in love with her. Our conversations on WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger were filled with sweetness, care, and warmth. She shared everything with me, and I felt completely captivated by her. Meeting her in real life couldn't come soon enough, but it wasn't as simple as just hopping on a plane. Between work commitments, saving up money and vacation days, and navigating the lingering effects of the pandemic, there were hurdles to overcome. But now the time had finally come. It was time to make that dream a reality, to visit the Philippines for the first time and meet this incredible woman who had captured my heart. Preparing for the trip. Easier said than done. While flying internationally isn't rocket science, it still requires preparation, especially when traveling to a faraway country like the Philippines. First, I had to ensure my passport was valid for at least 6 months from my arrival date. Check. Then came the mandatory COVID-19 vaccine. I needed 2 doses. Check. And because I'm Austrian, I didn't need to apply for a visa beforehand. Instead, the Philippine government grants European citizens a 30-day tourist visa upon arrival. All I needed was proof of a return ticket, which is a standard requirement for tourists entering the country. Next up, booking the flight. I'd traveled abroad before, but those trips were for diving contracts where my company handled all the logistics. This time, though, I was on my own. Not being very experienced with organizing international flights, I decided to visit a travel agency for help, just for the flights, as my girlfriend had graciously offered to host me at her place. I did some research online and found that flights could vary significantly depending on the season. The cheapest round trip tickets I came across were around 660 euros, while others ranged between 1,200 and 1,600 euros. Since I was on a budget, I opted for an economy class flight with a layover, typically in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or Doha. These airports are massive, modern, and full of amenities, shops, restaurants, lounges, even smoking areas. Honestly, they're great places to spend a layover. In the end, I booked with Etihad Airways through my travel agency. The service was excellent, and I was pleasantly surprised by how affordable it was. Austria may be a small country, but traveling from one end to the other by car or train can cost just as much as this flight halfway across the world. For the price, I couldn't complain. Packing for the journey. With the flight sorted, the next question was what to pack. As someone who loves gear and likes to be prepared for anything, this was both exciting and challenging. Traveling by air means you're limited by baggage allowances, so I had to be selective. Thankfully, the Philippines has a warm, tropical climate, which meant I didn't need bulky winter clothes. Plus, goods are relatively inexpensive there compared to Austria, so if I forgot something, I figured I could buy it locally. My packing list ended up being pretty minimal: comfortable yet stylish travel clothes, a few pairs of shorts, some t-shirts, and basic essentials. I didn't want to overpack, especially since this trip was primarily about meeting my girlfriend. Diving equipment or heavy filming gear stayed at home. I kept things light with just a small suitcase and a carry on. Mixed emotions before departure. As the departure date approached, I was brimming with excitement, but also a little nervous. I'd heard stories about scams involving online relationships in the Philippines, and while I trusted my girlfriend, doubts crept in. What if things didn't go as planned? What if we didn't click in person the way we did online? Still, I tried not to let fear overshadow my excitement. I reminded myself that this was a once in a lifetime opportunity to meet someone truly special. If things didn't work out, I'd figure it out then. But deep down, I hoped this would be the start of something amazing. The day of departure, finally, the day of my flight arrived. In the past, I'd flown internationally for work, but those experiences were different. My company handled everything: visas, luggage, check ins, you name it. All I had to do was show up 20 minutes before boarding. This time, however, I was responsible for every detail. Times had changed too, thanks to stricter regulations post COVID and heightened security measures. My travel plan seemed straightforward: drive to Vienna International Airport, check in, and board my flight to Abu Dhabi or Doha or Dubai, followed by a 9.5 hour flight to Manila. It sounded simple enough. From my home in Vienna, the airport is usually about an hour away, 30 minutes to get out of the city, and another 30 minutes to reach the terminal. Easy, right? Wrong. I'd booked the cheapest flight option, which meant no flexibility if I missed it. Everything hinged on arriving on time. Unfortunately, fate had other plans. A massive traffic jam turned what should have been a 1 hour drive into a grueling 2.5 hour ordeal. By the time I reached the airport, the check-in counters were closed. I was devastated. All that preparation, all those dreams, seemed to vanish in an instant. A second chance. Thankfully, I'd booked through a reliable travel agency. When I called them in a panic, they sprang into action. With the cooperation of Etihad Airways, they managed to rebook my flight for the following day. It was a relief, but it also meant going back home, spending another restless night, and returning to the airport early the next morning. This time, I made sure to leave plenty of time. The taxi ride went smoothly, and I arrived at the airport with plenty of time to spare. After checking in, I settled into the 5 hour flight to Abu Dhabi. The 4 hour layover flew by. I wandered through the sprawling airport, explored the shops, and grabbed a bite to eat. Before I knew it, it was time for the second leg of the journey. 9.5 hours in economy class isn't exactly luxurious, but Etihad made it bearable. They offered the latest movies, meals, and drinks, and the service was impeccable. I barely slept, opting instead to watch films and pass the time. Arrival in Manila, and then after nearly 24 hours of travel, I landed in Manila. The adventure was just beginning. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Across the sea into the light, chasing love, chasing life. Every step a story told, in the sun or in the storm. From across the sea into the light, chasing love, chasing life. Every step a story told, in the sun or in the storm. I walk the line where hearts belong. No map, no plan, just faith to guide. Across